few years ago, I had the joy and the privilege of traveling with some friends, people in the parish, to visit and to walk the footsteps of St. Bernadette, Bernadette of Soubirous. We went to Lourdes and we spent a few days there, visiting the places of her childhood and praying with people of Lourdes and places of her life. We also had the privilege of traveling to Nevers in the central part of France, where Bernadette spent the rest of her life, most of her adult life. And so in the midst of those travels and the reading and praying and studying of Bernadette, I discovered some very special things about her. One was that throughout most of her life, Bernadette was ill. She suffered through her whole life with asthma. Later in life, she had a tumor in her leg. And so for the most of her life, Bernadette was never without pain. She suffered most of her life. But what we discovered there in Nevers, and praying and visiting with Bernadette, knowing about her, was that throughout all of this, there were some things that were constant in her life. She was, throughout her whole life, generous. She was, in her life, faithful. And throughout her life, she was also humorous. She was kind of known as the prankster of the convent in Nevers. So in the midst of a life of great joy and a life also of suffering, Bernadette remained generous and faithful. And what I've come to know in my time here at St. Bernadette is that those virtues, those gifts of Bernadette have made their way into our family, in this family of St. Bernadette, this wonderful family of faith here. And so in this time when we're all kind of worrying and full of anxiety, and many of us are suffering, some of us are suffering from illness and age and disability, and some of us are suffering from the loss of our jobs, our income, and some of us are anxious about things. In the midst of all that, I want to ask you a special favor. I want to ask you to call upon that same generosity. You know, in this time, these days, today, we still have to pay our bills here. We have to pay the salaries of the staff here. We do all kinds of things to keep the parish alive. And so I want to ask you a favor to the degree possible, whatever you're possible, without creating an undue burden upon you and upon your family. If you would consider mailing in your Sunday envelope, rather than dropping it off on Sunday, which we can't do, stick it in the mail, and with a note, a prayer perhaps inside of it. And if you choose to do another way, you can also sign up for online giving with Faith Direct. The link is on the web page. You can find it there. So either way, we continue the generous support of the family of St. Bernadette and allow us together to make it through these difficult times. So thank you for your faith, your generosity.